If there were two mistakes that I've made as a low-income homemaker that I really wish I could undo because they cost me years of unnecessary struggle, those mistakes would be this. When you go through times of living in poverty, it has an impact on your brain. It affects you. And I think that the longer that you live that way, the longer it has an effect. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So this mistake that I'm going to be talking about today, I have the feeling I'm not the only one that's done this. By the way, if you don't know the difference between low income and poverty, there is a difference. I did a video explaining the difference. By the way, the sun keeps coming and going behind a cloud, so that's why the video keeps getting darker and brighter. I'm sorry about that, by the way. But anyways, I will link to the video that I did explaining the difference between poverty and low income because there's a difference between the two. And that's not what this video is about. So basically this video is about explaining the impact that poverty can have on a person and how the impact of being on the low end of lower income and the middle and the upper end of all low income can kind of change the way your brain thinks. And for some of us, it can change the way your brain thinks for longer than it does for others, probably depending on how long the situation or the hardship lasted. This is extremely sticky dough, by the way. I am making rye bread today. This is a rye and caraway with molasses. It is definitely a higher hydration bread. Very sticky. Rye is sticky in itself. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So I have a note here. I wrote down my note. The mistake I made was letting the years we lived in poverty define how I lived, even after we were simply in the low income bracket and no longer in the poverty bracket. And I'm going to give you a real example of what I mean by this. Some of you might laugh at me. Some of you might cry with me. So I've been running this channel here for about 5 years, maybe a little bit longer. And every time I filmed one of these talking head videos where I'm not wearing my glasses and where I'm looking at the camera, directly at the camera, every video that I've ever done, almost every video, maybe there's one or two videos where this didn't happen, maybe. But in all the rest of them, my anxiety would shoot through the roof. I would get frustrated. I would get very flustered. There's times there were tears involved and just struggle. I've pushed through all of these years of doing this like that. So this is the truth. And I did it for a variety of reasons. I won't get into that right now though. But if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know that when I'm going about my kitchen, when I'm going about doing my housework and everything, I usually wear glasses when I'm doing my regular house activities. That's because I have astigmatisms in both eyes, and I have, I'm either nearsighted or farsighted. I should know, but I can't remember which is which because the concept is confusing to me. But anyways, I'm one or the other, so I have to wear glasses or else I can't see. Here's the problem. When you are filming videos, especially the talking head where I'm looking at the camera as if I'm looking at you and talking with you, the glasses get in the way because there gets to be a glare on them, and it would literally be like if I'm standing here doing this the entire time I'm talking. That would be just a little distracting. Yes, when I wear the glasses, it's highly distracting. I probably have a pair right here. See? And I don't know if you can see it. See that glare that consistently comes on the glasses? It's distracting. I, for one, as I'm editing the videos where I'm wearing glasses, as I'm editing, I can't even focus on what I'm saying. And I'm the one who made the video. So it's like I can only imagine what it would be like for all of you guys. So what I would do is I would take the glasses off. And yes, I was reading the script correctly. Have you guys ever seen... Okay, you're gonna get I probably shouldn't tell you this, but Robin Hood Men in Tights, where Blinken was on the lookout and he's blind. Blinken was blind and he's on the lookout on the little watchtower thingy. And I think it was Robin Hood comes and says to him, "Blinken, what on earth are you doing?" And Blinken says, guessing? I'm guessing no one's coming? Yeah, that's me. I'm guessing I'm reading the script correctly. So long story short, there would be blubbers. I remember one time I was reading a script for all of you guys, and somewhere when I was making the script, I was doing a talk to text, and I went on telling my daughter something about how there was toilet paper left out. So I'm literally reading the script, and suddenly I start talking about toilet paper. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that happened regularly. But here's the hard part though. I would take the glasses off so that the viewers could connect with me, and I would always just kind of tough it out as I was filming. My teleprompter is about 5 or 6, the camera is about 5 or 6 feet away, so I really could not see what I was reading half the time. So here's where what I was getting at. A 20-minute script, which should have only taken me 20 minutes to film, would take an hour or longer. And the editing would take 3 to 4 times that long. So I was literally, and have been all of these years, I've been making my workload 4 or 5 times heavier than it really needed to be. What should have been maybe an hour-long job on a video, making a video, or maybe 2 or 3 hours, would take a day or 2. So my workload has always been much, much heavier than like my competitors and than it needed to be. Well, recently my eyesight got worse again. And so all of this just compounded and it got even harder to do. And one day I just had a breakdown and I started crying. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I either need to quit or I need to figure something else out. And then it kind of dawned on me, for all of these years, I've been saying, I can't afford contacts, I can't afford contacts, I can't afford contacts. Now, granted, the first time I went to get contacts, it was in Missouri. Now this was like 10 years ago. It was gonna cost around $400 for me to get the contacts where we were. And at the place that I was going to get them, which was like a Sears Optical. So that was actually a lower price place to get them from. And it was gonna be around $300 to $400. So I figured the price had gone up. So all of this time I've been thinking, if I get contacts, it's gonna be about $500, but I can't afford not to have them anymore. I can't keep doing this. And when I did that, I called our local Walmart to see how much it was going to be. And they said, well, it's gonna vary. It could be $200, it could be up to $500. So I wasn't too far off with the $500 thing. But anyway, so I went, I did it. I went in, I got the appointment. I went in, got the contacts. It cost me $200. That's it. So all of this time I could have gotten contacts, but I had that mindset of I can't afford them, I can't afford them, I can't afford them, I can't get them. When actually for at least the last 2 or 3 years, I probably could have. So again, I was letting the lifestyle that we had to live by when we lived in poverty affect me, even though we were no longer living in poverty. Okay, so the very first day that I did my filming was last week. I filmed and I did, I think 2 or 3 videos I filmed, and I got them all done in record time. Never got done in that amount of time before. I did some talking head videos, and I finished in 2 hours. I thought it was going to take 2 days. Typically it would have taken me 2 days. I got it done in 2 hours. And then the editing, as I started editing, the editing was like, I didn't have all the choppy split, you know, like, oh, no, oh, wait, no, that's not what I meant to say. Oh, all the mistakes to edit out. And everything got done in such a short amount of time, and I ended up crying again. Not because I was frustrated, but because I was just so happy to have been able to do my work in such a timely and efficient manner without the frustrations, without the tears, without the exasperation. And that's when it hit me. I had been working much harder than I needed to be for probably about 3 years now, living as if we were still in poverty when we were just simply only low income. And looking back, I realized something else. There are so many times in my life where I have settled. I've settled when I maybe didn't need to settle quite as much as I did. I settled for mediocre. I settled for low quality. I settled for things I didn't really like or want to fill certain needs, all because I was trying to be overly cautious and very frugal with what the Lord had given us, which was a good thing, but maybe I didn't need to take it as far as I did. Maybe I haven't always needed to take it as far as I have. Ironically, living like that in that mindset has actually cost me more in the long run. It's cost me more money, more time, more stress. So I think that's probably the biggest low income mistake that I have made through the years, is not holding out or not just putting my foot down and saying, okay, this is an actual need. I need this. We need to figure out a way to make it happen. And I need to stop trying to overcompensate or mask over the fact that this is a need. So yes, essentially, Going without the needs of today because I might need that money for tomorrow. That's the biggest low income mistake that I've made. And in the Bible, we are actually warned about this. I have a verse here I wanted to read. It's Matthew 6:34. It says, "Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And then earlier in the same verse, we have, "Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, yet your heavenly Father clothes them. If God takes care of the lilies of the field, how much more will he take care of the needs of his children?" Now, I'm not saying we should spend money carelessly. Of course, you know that I'm not saying that. When you're low income, you absolutely have to decipher what is important and what the difference is between needs and wants. What is urgent and important? What can wait and what really needs to be taken care of today? And I think that's the balance. That's the hard balance. Now I'm going to switch over to a voiceover because I need to finish this up and I've got more to say. So I'm going to switch to a voiceover at this point. I hope you don't mind.
If something is a real need and you have the means today to meet that need, sometimes the faithful thing to do is simply receive the provision that God already has given you today. Now, I want to say something important for those of you watching who are in a different situation. Some of you aren't going without because of mindset. Some of you are facing a situation where the need is very real and you truly don't know how you're going to meet it. And in this economy, that is happening to more and more people. But if that is where you are right now, I want to encourage you about something. Try not to go to the place of saying, well, I guess God just doesn't see or care. Because that's another mistake I've made many times in my life. I have been a little bit like the Israelites in the wilderness, where God would perform miracles, provide for the Israelites, lead them, and then the next hardship would come and they would immediately become frightened and say, "Why did you bring us out here? Have you brought us out here to die?" And I've had moments in my life where my heart has done the same thing. Moments where I basically said, well, I guess God doesn't care. I guess he's forgotten about us. But when we fall into that mindset, something happens. We can get spiritually stuck there. Just like the Israelites wandering in the wilderness, we can end up sitting in a valley of despair much longer than we need to. But here's the beautiful thing. We have Christ. And when we realize our hearts have slipped into doubt and despair, we can go straight to God, ask forgiveness, and he can lift us out of that place. I've learned that God is very good at taking us out of that valley and bringing us to higher ground. Now, I will be honest with you, for some of this takes more work than it does for others. And I've always noticed the people that don't have to really struggle with that, they have a little bit of a problem, a heart problem with judging the people that have. And I've also noticed that a lot of those people can't grasp what the people that struggle with it are struggling with, because it all goes back to childhood. You see, childhood trauma, hardship, abandonment, and painful life experiences can make it a lot harder for some people to truly believe that God cares. And for some people, it takes a lot of real work. The more wounds a person carries, the more trauma in the past, sometimes the harder it is to believe that someone, even God, will actually come through. But the sooner we begin transforming our thinking from God doesn't care to God does care, and somehow this is going to work out, the sooner we can begin stepping out of that place of despair and start to think more clearly. Jesus said to us that faith, the size of a mustard seed, can move mountains. That doesn't mean the faith has to be great. Sometimes it's just a tiny seed of hope that says, Lord, I don't understand the situation or why it's so hard, but I'm choosing to believe that you see it. And when something in your life is unresolved, I want to tell you something. You can keep taking it to God. Bring your needs to him again and again if you need to. Ask him, pray about it, remind him, keep bringing the issue before him until it's resolved. Living on a low income means you often live in a place where faith isn't optional. It becomes a daily necessity. Some people preach prosperity like faith means everything will be always okay. But that's not the truth. The truth is sometimes God allows seasons, hard seasons, where we have to depend on Him every single day. He doesn't love us less because He allows that. If you're in one of those seasons right now where there is a real need and you don't know how it will be met, try not to make the mistake of thinking God doesn't care, because the truth is the entire story of Scripture and many verses tell us quite the opposite. Over and over again, God meets His people in the wilderness. Sometimes the provision comes like manna, just enough for the day, but sometimes it comes like water from a rock, miraculously. Sometimes it comes through people. Sometimes it comes through wisdom. And sometimes it comes through realizing the provision was already there. We just hadn't seen it yet. These containers are a really good example of what I'm talking of. I have spent probably hundreds of dollars. I'm gonna guess maybe in the last 20 years, I probably spent maybe $500 replacing cheap containers. So I would buy cheap ones, they would break down. I finally decided, you know, I'm gonna spend 20 bucks on this. I'll probably have it for at least 10 years. On a side note about that, a kitchen frugal hot tip that I have for you is if you do a lot of cooking, if you cook from scratch, and especially if you have a large family, check out the industrial sections of stores. Up where I live, we have a chef's store. They have around 95 locations across 14 states. But if you don't have a chef's store near you, I'm sure you have something comparable, some kind of a store where industrial restaurant quality goods are made. And if you can find one of those, it's way more affordable to shop from them than it is to buy your cooking goods from places like Walmart or places like that. The reason why is if you go to shop for your kitchen goods at an industrial store that is a more restaurateur shopping place, you're going to get materials that are made to stand up and that are going to be far more durable. And when you have a large family, it's honestly the only way to go. And especially if you're going to be actually using the items. I get really annoyed. I think that half of the stuff that is on traditional chain stores' shelves are made for people who perhaps do like hobby cooking that are not really using the items, where, you know, so many households today are 2-income homes where they do takeout most of the time. So if you're actually using your kitchen items, you need quality. So yeah, look for a restaurant store near you where they sell industrial quality material. Before you go, I want to invite you to something. It's free. If you are one of those people that I talked about in those videos who come from a place of trauma and you're just having a bit of trouble navigating and finding your way, I do have a free workshop called Beauty from Ashes. And in it, I share 2 simple tools that help me go from burned out and overwhelmed to actually feeling at peace in my home again. Now, this workshop is only about 20 minutes. It costs you nothing, and it's built for moms who don't have hours to spare. You can click the link in the description and grab your free spot. You don't have to keep running on empty. And if you are interested in wanting to go a few steps further, I actually have a full course as well. It's a mini course called Beauty from Ashes, if you feel like you need more help beyond the free masterclass. I just want to specify, I get a lot of people here that see these videos that are watching for the first time that have not seen my previous 5 years of videos, and they get their butts in a rut thinking, they think that they're low income, and they're not. They're actually living in poverty, or they are in poverty. They don't know there's a difference between the two, and they look at my life and what I've built over the last 25 years. Very frugally, mind you, and with a lot of hard work, and they think that, oh, that kitchen, it costs more than my house, you're not low income. And they don't realize, yes, I am. There's a difference between poverty and low income. So
if you are living in poverty and you're looking and you're saying, hey, you're not like me, yeah, you're right. I am in the low income bracket now. And what you see is a lot of elbow grease, a lot of hard work that we've done ourselves. So I hope that gives those of you hope that you can also build something beautiful. But again, if you want to learn more about the difference between low income and poverty, I watched the other video that I did below. If you are walking through a hard season right now, remember this. Your job isn't to figure out tomorrow and the next week and the next week after that. If you're just surviving right now, it's to figure out today. Your job, our jobs are to take today's needs and today's pressures and bring them before God and to learn to trust Him with tomorrow. And believe me, I'm preaching to myself when I say this too, because I am still in this too, and it's still hard for me too. But that is our job. That's our job. His job is to be God. Ours is to trust Him and learn to trust Him and to keep putting one step in front of the other, one faithful step at a time. Because even in the wilderness, God, He doesn't stop working for His people, and He doesn't stop taking care of His people.